Hey everyone, hope you're having a great Monday. Mike here, and we obviously have another winter storm that's coming our way. This one, though, not going to be the snow that we saw this past weekend, and hopefully you're able to enjoy that snow at least a little bit. I know it's been a long time coming since we had a pretty decent snowfall here in central and northeast Pennsylvania. Let me know in the comments what you ended up doing with the snow, if you did anything besides just shoveling. If you went sledding, build igloo, snowmen, maybe you went skiing or snowboarding on the fresh powder, let me know in the comments. But right now, we got to talk about this is our next winter storm that will be moving in as we go through tomorrow. And you can see bringing a lot of rain to parts of the deep south there and near Memphis and Arkansas, Louisiana, even some severe weather to the Gulf Coast. It'll continue to bring severe weather to the southeastern part of the country. But for us, we're going to be dealing with a little bit of snow and mix before it transitions to heavy rain and then strong winds. So here's a look at the radar right now for us. You can see it is nice and quiet across the area, so we're not dealing with any issues here, which is good news with that. And as we take a look at your temperatures right now, temperatures, if you are heading out, you can see once it loads up here, are in the 30s. So we're dealing with temperatures in the 30s right now across northeast and central Pennsylvania, 34 there in Stillwater, 36 in Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, as well as Bloomsburg and the freezing mark in Hazleton and Lehighton right now. I did want to show you this, and we're going to zoom out a little bit here so you can actually see it. This is the day 2 excessive rainfall outlook, and this is why with this particular storm, flash flooding is going to be a concern here. You can see that red, which indicates that we have numerous flash floods possible here across a good portion of the eastern and central Pennsylvania area. So this is just a product from the Weather Prediction Center, and it just highlights the heavy rain threat for our area here. So that would be something we really need to watch as we go into tomorrow night with the Poconos especially. That's where we're going to be seeing the heaviest of the rain. You can see how it drops off considerably quickly once you start moving to the north and west. And because of this, we do have flash flood, or we do have a flood watch, I should say here. It looks like the screen changed itself a little bit here, it's sizing. But flood watch is in effect for everybody as we go through tomorrow. So it'll be from tomorrow about 1 o'clock until Wednesday, right around lunchtime here, that we'll be dealing with that flood threat. And you can see it's for everyone. Northeast, central Pennsylvania, Poconos. If you're in this area, you're under the flood watch here for that heavy rain situation. And a flood watch means this, okay? It means that flooding is a possibility due to the heavy rain in the area. And it's not a guarantee, but you want to continue to monitor conditions and stay up to date with the forecast in case conditions do get worse. Just remember, no matter what, whether there's a flood warning, whether there's just a flood watch, you never want to drive in a flood. So please, tomorrow especially, pay attention to that here. So here's a look at our 12 hours. Tonight, it's quiet. You're just going to see the clouds increase, nothing much going on here. The only thing I would say about tonight is just be aware of some black ice potential that could reform here now that the sun has gone down and temperatures are going to be cooling off here. We did see some melting today, so we could see the black ice reforming across our area. And here's a look at the temperatures for tomorrow. Pottsville around 25 in the morning, same thing in Williamsport, 24 for Wilkes-Barre and Scranton, 19, a chilly morning for Stroudsburg, and 26 there in Selinsgrove. So it's definitely cold enough for that black ice to form tomorrow. So please just be aware, or tonight. So just be aware of that. Rain tomorrow, well, it's going to start in the late morning and pick up as we go throughout the day. But here's the thing about the rain. It looks like it starts off a little bit as a wintry mix. So I'm going to adjust this so you can see the full screen. And as we go into tomorrow morning, we're going to see the clouds continue to increase. You can see at 8 o'clock that snow beginning in central Pennsylvania, relatively light. And then as we go into the morning, quickly that rain snow line moves north into the valleys of the Susquehanna Valley there in central Pennsylvania, and then eventually into the Wyoming Valley here in Wilkes-Barre and Scranton area. Notice, though, we do get a brief period for maybe an hour or two in the valleys of that snow. The mountains will last a little bit longer, but it's not going to stay forever, and we will eventually see that transition over to snow, from snow to rain for you as well. But around lunchtime, this is what we're looking at. Everyone at this point seeing some form of precipitation. If you're in the valleys, it's going to be rain. If you're in the mountains, you're starting to see either that transition over to rain, or you maybe have an hour or two left of that snowfall coming down here. By 2 o'clock, pretty much everyone except maybe a portion of Susquehanna and Wayne County has now seen that transition over to rain. Notice we are dealing with a lot more yellows and dark green. So we're starting to see that heavy rain move in tomorrow afternoon, probably by the time you're starting to head home from work and school here, especially in central Pennsylvania. And then as we get to the 5, 6 o'clock hour, so right around sunset, that's when the heavy rain threat really begins to take hold and start to really develop in our area here. So tomorrow night, evening time frame, right around sunset till you probably go to bed, is when we're going to be seeing that heavy rain threat for a couple of hours. So that's the other part of this. It's not going to be heavy rain for maybe 20 minutes. It could be for a few hours. So that is obviously going to add up to the rain totals. You add in the fact we have a snowpack here, and temperatures during this time will be in the 40s. So you have temperatures in the 40s. You have rain coming down. It's going to melt. You add that on top of it, and now we can see why we have that flood threat with this system, and even a little bit of reds popping up here on the models in the Poconos here. But by 7 o'clock, things, at least with the heavy rain, beginning to kind of calm down. If you're in central Pennsylvania here, still got a little bit to go in northeast Pennsylvania. And you can see even around 9 o'clock in central Pennsylvania, you may even get a bit of a lull, which is possible. Some dry air may work its way in. You get a bit of a lull in the precipitation in central Pennsylvania. Eastern Pennsylvania is still dealing with more of that moderate rain, but things are beginning to lighten up a little bit here. Maybe one last gas, so to speak, between 10 o'clock and midnight tomorrow night. And then at that point, it should taper off with the precipitation. And then as we go into your Wednesday, we're actually looking at maybe some back-end snow showers here, especially for central Pennsylvania. You think you guys got a better shot of some back-end snow showers on Wednesday, simply because you're going to be closer to the moisture and some lake effect snow, while eastern Pennsylvania is going to be a bit farther. So that is what we're looking in terms of the timing here. So we start off with a little bit of that mixing, then we transition throughout the afternoon, and then the heavy rain comes in through the evening and overnight hours. If you're wondering how much snow, if you're in the mountains, you might get a little bit here. I'll pull this up full screen, and we'll position it here for you. This is one model showing, maybe a dusting to an inch in the valleys, but that's probably not going to last very long here at all. And then in the mountains, maybe an additional inch or two here. So snowfall is not really the biggest issue with this. This model breaks out a little bit more in the Stroudsburg area, but you can see it's very much isolated to the mountains with any types of accumulation with the snowfall. Here's a look at the actual rain totals that we are dealing with, and this is why flooding is a concern for the area. So you can see that we are dealing with rain totals anywhere from around an inch to 2 inches, in some cases even over 3 inches of rain in the mountains. So that is why we are going to be watching for that flood threat as we go through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. So that is one model. Here's another model. It brings out totals even higher in the Poconos there, and getting close to 4 inches. But notice how many places: Pottsville, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, Tunkhannock, Williamsport, Bloomsburg, you getting over 1.5 inch of rain to even 2.5 inches of rain. So again, some heavy rain coming down through here as we head into tomorrow. Here's what I think you're actually going to end up seeing, something similar to this map here. Tried to draw as best I could for you, but this is what I think you're likely going to see in terms of the precipitation total. So 1 to 2 inches if you're in the Endless Mountains and parts of the Wyoming Valley, more up towards Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. And the reason for that is that you have the mountains there kind of wringing out the precipitation a little bit as it comes in. So you end up squeezing out that precipitation. By the time it gets to us, there's not as much. So that's why I believe you're going to see a little bit lower totals there in the valley near Scranton and Wilkes-Barre. Not by much, maybe 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch, but lower nonetheless. Central Pennsylvania, especially the Susquehanna Valley area, you're pretty much looking at 2 to 3 inches of rain. In the Poconos and the mountains of eastern Pennsylvania, same thing. But notice that bullseye over Monroe, Carbon County, and in parts of Pike County of maybe 3 to 4 inches. That's where we think the heaviest rain is going to end up setting up here. And keep in mind, you got the mountains, so the rain is going to funnel down. You get basically a funnel effect, and it's going to all go down, and it has to go somewhere. So that's why the flood threat is higher. You add this rain, you add the snowpack, you add the fact there's mountains here, and you can see why the flood threat is higher tomorrow compared to other events. I will say this, though, if you are worried about river flooding, right now it does look like the river forecast levels are expected to stay below flood stage, right below it here. So they'll be approaching flood stage, meaning that the river is going to get high. But in terms of over its banks and widespread major flooding, does not look likely for us here. That looks like it's going to be a more downstream river issue for places like Philadelphia, and as they're heading down the Delaware River, and then also in the Susquehanna River there in central Pennsylvania. So that's more of a downstream issue for this time around. We're going to be experiencing more of that flash flooding issue due to the terrain and the fact that we have the snow melting here. So I know a few folks may be a little concerned about that with the river flooding. It does not look like this is going to be a major river issue for us, which is a benefit, or a good thing, obviously. I do want to go over this real quick. This, if tomorrow, if flash flood warnings are issued, there are different types based on what is happening. Let me pull that back up here. So the normal flash flood warning that you are used to seeing is the radar indicated and gauge indicated one. That just means that the radar or the gauge data indicates that a flash flood is occurring or is likely to occur. If it's observed, then you get the observed tag there with the flash flood warning. And that's just to help you know which ones are observed and which ones are, okay, the data is showing that there could be flash flooding. So it kind of gives you more sense of urgency to the situation. If it's considerable, which was what we had with the Scranton flooding not too long ago, flash flooding is capable of unusual severity or impact. That one will trigger the wireless emergency alerts on your cell phone. Notice that the radar indicated, engage indicated one, and the observe tag do not. So in order for your wireless emergency alerts on your cell phone here to go off, it needs to have a considerable tag or the catastrophic tag, which would be the flash flood emergency. So just keep that in mind. If you rely on the wireless emergency alerts for your weather alerts here, that they do not go off for every single flash flood warning. They will go off only for the considerable tag or the catastrophic tag, which is the flash flood emergency, which is extremely rare to get. You can see there, it's flash flood threat is to life or catastrophic damage is occurring imminent. Floodwaters in this case are rarely seen, and I don't think we're going to have that, but just something to keep in mind when we say flash flood emergency, that's usually what that means here. Okay, so that's one threat that we are dealing with. That's the rain side of things. We have another side that we are also dealing with, and that is going to be the wind. So we have strong winds coming in as we go through tomorrow and also as we head into Wednesday. So here's a look at the Futurecast model. Tomorrow morning, not too bad, maybe a little breezy. Starting to pick up, though, as we head into Tuesday afternoon. So wind gusts are going to be 30, 35, 40 miles per hour as we head into Tuesday afternoon, especially in the mountains. This particular model thinks that we'll get close to maybe 55 miles per hour in some locations. We'll see if we get that high, but tomorrow afternoon and evening, going to be very windy in addition to the rain. So not only you have heavy rain falling, you got it blowing around too. So visibility is going to be really, really poor tomorrow night here. Do not recommend driving tomorrow night at all, just for the fact that it's going to be very hard to see, and it's also going to be very coming down hard with that rain. So you don't want to be out there if you don't have to be. But the rain ends Tuesday night. The wind does not. The wind will continue into Wednesday. So Wednesday, we get winds out of the west. That's going to keep the strong winds around here as we head into Tuesday afternoon. You can see gusts 30, getting close to 35 miles per hour as we head into your Wednesday as well with that model. So here's another way of looking at it. This is that bar graph that I like to show on the news. I think it's very easy to see. The trend throughout the day. Like I said, a little breezy in the morning, not too bad. It's really tomorrow afternoon and especially after sunset tomorrow night where we're going to be seeing those stronger winds. In fact, this model even saying a 47 mile per hour gust, and we'll experience Scranton around 6 o'clock. So you see 5 o'clock onward is where things really go downhill pretty quickly in our area here. Here's another way you can maybe think of it if you like to with the trash cans tomorrow. We're going to be seeing those wind gusts anywhere of 40 to 45 miles per hour Tuesday afternoon, and then Tuesday night after midnight or after sunset. So Tuesday night, I mean sunset onwards, 45 to 50 mile per hour gusts. And then things will continue even into Wednesday morning. You can see still seeing those windy conditions there as we head into your Wednesday. So if you have trash day tomorrow, make sure that you bring those trash cans in as early as possible. If you have trash day on Wednesday, just make sure that it is somewhere where it's not going to be blown around, or else you might be chasing it down the street. And that is not an exaggeration here. These are going to be very strong winds. Your trash can will be no longer where it should be if you don't have it secure tomorrow. And that goes for all objects across the area. So we do have a wind advisory in effect here for most of our counties, the only exception being southern Clinton County, Snyder and Union County. The reason for that, it's not that you're not going to deal with any strong winds, it's just you haven't hit the criteria for it. So instead of seeing gusts of 50 miles per hour, you're going to see gusts of 45. So either way, it's going to be breezy for everybody tomorrow, especially tomorrow night. This is going to blow things around. You're going to have loose objects all over the place if they're not tied down. And also travel for high-profile vehicles, especially trucks like semi-trucks, will be will be difficult tomorrow because the wind's going to be obviously blowing them around. So just keep that in mind. Tomorrow and Wednesday will be a difficult day for semis to be driving around here. And this is just an idea of what a wind advisory means. Strong winds are expected to occur within the area. You want to be sure to secure all outdoor objects, all high-profile vehicles moving through the roadways. Just be extra careful as you are driving through here. And then also there's this. We do have the risk for maybe some scattered power outages tomorrow night and evening because of the winds. Right now, giving it a moderate threat. I don't think you're going to see widespread blackouts across the area. But I will not be surprised if we get reports of power outages tomorrow. So if you are in an area, if you know, like, okay, my power typically goes out in these situations, maybe get the generator ready, maybe make sure that your sump pump is ready to go. We will be dealing with heavy rain, and that's a lot of things that, you may not think about. When the power goes out, your sump pump might not be operating. And in this situation, we will be dealing with heavy rain while the strong winds are coming in. So you want to make sure you have a way for that sump pump to be operating, even if that power goes out tomorrow. So here's a nice little summary, I guess you can say, of what to expect as we go through tomorrow and tomorrow night. So snow to mix early. It will switch to all rain. Flash flooding is a possibility, especially in the mountains of eastern Pennsylvania and then also along I-80 as you are heading out to the west. So that will be something we need to watch for carefully. We're also watching these strong winds. This is going to be a multi-threat storm. You got the rain and you also got the winds. Here, gusts up 50 miles per hour. If you're in the mountains, could be even a little bit higher than that. And unfortunately, that could lead to some scattered power outages as we go through the area here as well. So that is a look at everything we have. If for those of you who may just missed us here, this is how much rain we're expecting. One more time across the area here. You can see it's 1 to 2 inches if you're up by Bradford, Susquehanna County, and parts of Wayne County, northern Lackawanna County, and even the valley in Luzerne County. Central Pennsylvania, the mountains, you're looking at 2 to 3. And then there's this little bullseye there over the Poconos of potentially 3 to 4 inches of rainfall. Add that on top of the snowpack. And keep in mind with the snowpack, you probably got to add about a half an inch to maybe even an inch of rain if you're trying to think of, okay, how much water are we going to be dealing with? So actually add about another inch to these totals, and that's how much water we're going to be dealing with as we go through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. So that is the situation that we are looking at. Just make sure you have a way to get those alerts, and if you do come across any flooded roadways, always to make sure you turn around and don't drown. And another thing you can do that a lot of people may not think about here is one easy way to help mitigate the flood threat for you. Here, let's turn this on. Keep the drains clear with the snow. Just clear the drains. If the big issue is going to be, does that water have anywhere to go? If the answer is yes, then your flood threat is going to be lower. If your drains are blocked because of the snow, because the plows came through and pushed all that snow over it, well, then the water has nowhere to go. So now it's going to pile up on the roadway, and you have a bigger chance of something flooding and water going where it shouldn't be. So if you have a drain in your yard or out front, please make sure that it is clear, and that will help everybody out, not just you, but everyone around. That make sure that water is going down the drain and not into things it shouldn't be. So that is an easy way as well to make sure that you're not dealing with any potential flooding that was avoidable as we head through this next day or so. But with that, guys, that's pretty much everything I have here. If you have any questions, just put them in the comments. We'll be sure to check it as we go throughout the evening. We'll obviously have the latest details as well as we go on to our newscast tonight at 10. But with that, I hope you all have a great rest of your night, and I'll see you here in a little bit. Have a good night.